How you going, guys? Welcome back to another video. On this one we're going to be tackling the repairs and prep work on my Ford Ranger. I put up a little community post asking what kind of content you'd like to see. So it looks like you guys have chosen just to skim through the repair and sanding and prep process and show more of the painting of all the items from the door jambs to the doors and obviously the whole outside. So I'll run you through my little process of identifying where all the dents are, highlighting them so it makes the repair process a lot easier and a lot faster. So ideally, I haven't spent a lot of time on the car. Just for a bit of a disclaimer, this is my daily driver, which I take up the bush all the time for driving. So it is just a quick basic respray. We're not going to be bare metaling things and doing all those kind of extensive repair processes which you would generally do on a full restoration. This is just a quick tidy up. Chances are in a couple of months time I'll probably get pinstripes down the whole side next time I take it up the bush. So with that said, guys, I'll give you a quick look at what I've been up to lately. I've painted the 4 doors on the inside and painted the door jambs on both sides. I've bolted all the doors back on. I've still got a few things I need to take off the car, like the snorkel, the bull bar, headlights, handles, etc. Yes, so with that said, let's get into it. As I said, I've already painted the door jambs, etc. So they're all looking all really nice. So the colour's actually a brand new colour shift pearl that DNA's brought out. It's a little bit hard to show you in this light, but you can kind of see it's like a little bit red up here and then black everywhere else. Might be a little bit easier to show you. You've got to be careful shutting the doors because there's no rubbers on it at the moment. Yeah, you can see it's got that red tinge over it. It looks all really nice. I've put the door trims back on, etc. Yeah, you won't be able to see too much of the colour in this light, but I'll throw some footage up right now of me painting all the door jambs and the insides of the doors, and then I'll show you basically how I'd like to identify all the dents on the car, and then we'll skim over the repair process and getting the car in primer. Now what I like to do is get down on the angle. Now I know it's a bit dark, you can't really see. We might have to maybe get on this angle. What I like to do is use the reflection of the paint and get on the angle and move my head up and down and look for all the dents. Now what I like to do is get a whiteboard marker, not a permanent marker, a whiteboard marker, and go around and circle all the dents and damages on the car. That way when I've got the tools in my hand, I can then go from one to the next one to the next one and bare metal the areas which have like the dents and damage, and then we'll start doing the filler repairs, etc. So I'll run you through some new products which I've actually been given to do a bit of a test with and do a review, and I've also got a discount code for you guys which will give you 10% off all the products that I'll be using and like reviewing. I've been told that I can give a full honest review, so I'm pretty excited to show you the box of all the stuff that I've got. Now majority of all the sandpapers and blocks and stuff like that is more designed and suited for like denibbing like dust in your clear coat and polishing it up. So we've got lots of different sandpaper grits and different products to like give a honest review. So yeah, with that said, guys, let's go get a whiteboard marker and we'll start circling all the dents. Alrighty guys, so I went round and circled all the dents that I could find on the car. So we've got one here. Now there's something that I do which helps me really know what to do on the dent or the damage, and if I feel that I can block the dent out, what I'll do is I'll just put like a letter B on the dent, and that tells me that I should be able to block that out with some like 240 or 180 and then prime it. Sometimes you can like get away with not priming it, but I think while I've got the primer in the gun, it kind of just makes sense like to prime it. So let's take a look and see what we found. So we've got 3 dents on this door. We've got 2 down the bottom and 1 up near the handle there. On the back door, we've got that area above the handle that we're going to block out. And apart from that, that door's pretty good. On the back of the cab, we've got 1 up here which we'll fix, and then there's obviously 1 here, 1 on that door edge or the edge of the panel there. There's another 1 down there on the back of the cab. There's a small little 1 here on the bonnet, a larger 1 here. Apart from that, the rest of the bonnet looks to be pretty good. 1 here on the guard. We've got 2 more on the guard here, and I've just seen another 1 right there which will circle as well, right on that body line there. So onto the other door. So we've got a few around that handle there, as you can see, and it was a little bit ripply down on the bottom of the door, so we may just give that a block and prime it. On the rear door, we've got 1 up the top there, 2 in the middle, and 1 down there. Actually 2 down on the bottom. And then on the back of the cab, we've got that 1 there and that 1 there. And apart from that, I think they're pretty much right and covered for dents. So I'll show you the next step that I do. So I've just got an air-powered roll lock here with some, I think, 36 or 80 grit on it. I'm now going to use this to basically grind away all the paint around the dent. Once we've ground all the paints off around the dent, we're going to then get like 180 on an orbital sander and feather out any paint edges. That way, when we go to put our filler on, we'll actually get a smoother surface when we feather out and sand our filler. If you don't feather out your paint and you've got a gap between the edge of your paint and the bare, like the bare metal, you do the repair. What will happen is you'll have a step when you go and prime it, and you'll be able to actually see where all the damage was once you sand it and paint it. So very important. But anyway, let's hook this up. We'll bare metal all the areas around the dent, and we'll take it from there. And that's pretty much it. So now what we'll do is we'll get an orbital sander out and some like 180, and we'll just feather all the paint edges. There's not a lot of paint on it, being that it's only been painted once, so it won't take very long, or we won't use much sandpaper doing it. All right guys, so here's some sandpaper which I've been given to do a bit of a review on. So we've got some 240 here, 400, so obviously that's more suited for finishing like repairs and feathering out paint, and the 400's more suited for sanding down the paintwork. So we've got a few others here. We've got these Kovac ones, which are meant to be really good. So we've got some 400 there, some more 240, some 500, some 120, so that could be also used to feather out some filler work if we needed to. And we've also got some 180. So we'll open up this packet, guys, and I'm pretty interested to see what kind of quality the paper is and how fast it sands the paint, and also how long the sandpaper is going to last. So I'm starting to notice we're losing a little bit of, I guess, the abrasive on the paper. We have sanded a few little areas, but I would have liked to have seen it last a little bit longer. Now it is only 180, keep that in mind too. You could always start with like 120, but so far so good. I reckon we're going to need to change that now. There is still a bit of life in like the middle of the pad or the disc. So that would have been suited for, like, I guess, a flatter surface here. So we might just give this a bit of a sand. Oh, that's working all right. All right, guys, so I feathered out all the repairs. We ended up using 5 discs. So I think that was actually rather good. I've used some brands of sandpaper in the past, and you just blow through the sandpaper. So far so good with the 180. But yeah, so for now, I'll just give you a quick little look at those repairs. So as you can see, we've feathered all the paint edges out around the bare metal areas. and that will help us get our repairs a hell of a lot nicer. So yeah, that's that on that side, and obviously on this side it's pretty much going to look exactly the same. So yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, so not a great deal. There's probably, I don't know, maybe 10 or so dents on the whole car. So yeah, we'll quickly feather them ones back, and then we'll start mixing up some filler and applying it. We've got the 3M Platinum Plus. It's my favourite body filler of choice. Alrighty guys, so our pillars all dry, it's time to start sanding them all down. So here we've got one of the blocks here which I was given to like review. Now this can be used wet or dry by the looks of things. So I thought I'd test it out on some of these repairs. So just a bit of a general look at it. It is a little bit flexible, but for the most part, pretty much the rectangle face of the block is rather rigid. So I'm pretty curious to see how well it sands and stuff like that. The fact that it's got like the Velcro on it means that we can put our sandpaper on it. So we've got some more sandpaper here, and we've also got some backing pads which we're going to be using over the car for the paint side of things. So obviously you want to start with the most coarsest grit first. So for that we've got our 80 grit. Now the skims of filler which I've put over all the dents, it's pretty much just a really thin skim. So to use 80 grit is probably a little bit too coarse for the size repairs that we're doing. So I'll pretty much just skim over the top, knock the top off the repairs, and then we'll take a better look and we'll go down through the grades of sandpaper. So look, I've done quite a few different videos over the last couple of years regarding the sandpaper grits that you should use to sand your filler. Now, just a quick little skim over it. So I like to start with 80. Usually knock the top off the filler. I want to try and sand the edge of the filler out so it's relatively smooth, and then jump down to like 120, and then I want to really sand that dome out of the repair, and also focus on a lot of those 80 grit scratches too. We don't want to be priming over really coarse scratches. After the 120, we'll jump down to like 180 and then 240. Now, it's a really good idea to really assess how much filler you've put on your dent and like your panel, because you don't want to sand it all off with 80 or 3/4 of it off with 80 and then jump to 120, then 180, then 240, because by the time you go through all those different stages or sandpaper grits, you're going to be left with no filler, and then you're pretty much going to be sanding too much of it out, and then you're going to have to reapply filler, wait for it to dry, then resand it. It's a long process all over. So if you can basically assess how much filler you've put in, choose the right grit for how much filler you've got, you'll end up getting nicer repairs and use less materials. So we've got our 80 grit here. We're just going to knock the top off the repair. So sometimes I like to sand in a circle motion just at the very start on small dents. What that will do is basically just sand like the top of the filler off, just the dome. You can really see that sanded area and the non-sanded area. So that was the high spot on the repair. So now I'll really focus on those edges. We want to try and feather out those edges. Now don't put too much pressure down on the block either, guys. You don't want to flex the panel. So that feels pretty decent regards to the feathering of the edges. We've still got a dome there. Just looking at the quality of the sandpaper after that quick little sand, we've got a few little bits of filler on the sandpaper where it's like clogged up, but overall it is pretty like nice. So what I like to do is just spin that sandpaper around. So we're going to be using more of the disc. So we'll just keep sanding those edges and getting rid of that dome by going in a circle pattern. All right, that feels pretty good. So we'll go around, we'll 80 grit all the dents. Actually, no, we might as well finish each of them off all individually. So I'm gonna jump to this 120. So overall, the sandpaper's got a lot of life left in it, which is great for doing repairs. Now, you'll see that these sandpaper discs are a little bit different. The texture on the actual grit is a lot different if you compare those two like together. I'll take the GoPro off my head so you can actually see what's going on a little bit better. So you can see it's got like a square pattern where that's more, well, it's completely different. So I'm curious to have a look at these. Now, to my knowledge, these are like diamond grit, like sandpaper discs. So I'm expecting really great life out of these. Oops, my battery died. So what I was saying is that you can see that the grit on the sanding disc is completely different to those other sandpaper discs we were using. So I'm expecting great life out of these. So we'll throw that on the block and we'll continue sanding our repair. It sands that pillar really good, being like 120. I was actually expecting it to not sand as good as that. That's actually really good. And yeah, and just look at that disc afterwards. You can see that it's not clogging up the sandpaper, which is really good. So that feels pretty good. That is 120, so we'll jump down to like 180, and then we'll use 240 around the repairs to get rid of all the scratches off the paintwork. Now I'm pretty happy with how that sanding disc is actually sanding. It's got heaps of life left in it. It's really like what's the word? It's like really coarse, which is, yeah, I quite like it. So we may as well keep sanding with this 120, I reckon. We'll skip the 80 all together, I think. All right, that doesn't feel too bad. We'll probably leave it the way it is and we'll finish it off in 180 and 240. We'll keep sanding, guys, and we'll pick this back up once I've finished all the repairs. Alrighty guys, time to jump onto some 240 now to feather out the remainder of the scratches. And we're pretty much right to start masking up for primer. So I'm curious to see how these sandpaper discs go. I'm expecting they're going to be just as good as all the other ones that I've used. And the others have been actually rather good. I quite like them actually. Well, that one disc went a hell of a long way. Sanded and feathered everything on the other side, pretty much 3/4 of this side and the bonnet. So one disc of 240 definitely goes a long way. It's got some of the DNA Paints wax and grease remover in a pressure bottle and a rag. I'm just going to go around and wax and grease remove everywhere where my tape's going to go to mask up for the primer. So there you go, all the repairs are done, and in primer just gave the back of the tray a pressure wash, so when I put the tub on it's all going to be nice and clean under there. And that's pretty much it, guys. So yeah, managed to get all the repairs done and got it in primer today. So tomorrow all that I really got to do is disassemble the rest of the car, like the handles, the snorkel, the belt molds, headlights, and all the other little hang-on parts. And yeah, I can start doing the sanding of the primer. So I'll be sure to make another video. I did put up a community post asking you guys what kind of content you'd like me to focus on this little respray that we're doing. And it was kind of like a bit of a mixed bag. So I've tried to include some information for everyone basically. So yeah, that's pretty much it, guys. So yeah, appreciate everyone watching this little video that I've put together. You guys take it easy, and I'll see you guys on my next video where we start sanding down all the primer and getting everything all prepped up ready for paint.